Like and subscribe right now, or this spider is gonna crawl on your face while you're sleeping. 10 scary things that can happen while you sleep. Next to eating a healthy diet and getting enough exercise, getting adequate sleep is a staple cornerstone to a healthy life. But did you know that sleeping can also be dangerous? There are several things that can go wrong for you when you close your eyes and slip into unconsciousness. And for some people, the danger is real enough that they are never able to wake up again. In fact, according to an ancient Greek proverb, death and sleep are brothers, death being the perfect fulfillment of sleep, and sleep being the imperfect embodiment of death. Sleep has, for the most part, always been a passive activity that our body performs on its own. But the truth is that our brain is quite active while we slumber. It is also true that there are many unanswered mysteries about sleep that modern scientists have yet to unravel. For most people, the word sleep conjures up peace and relaxation after a long day. However, your body undergoes many changes during the hours you are unconscious. However, not everything the body undergoes is something positive during those hours. Here are some of the scary things that can happen to you when you soar away to the dreamland. Number 10. Sleep state misperception. We have all had those moments when we think we haven't slept. In fact, you are sure you haven't slept, but you could be suffering from sleep state misperception, also known as paradoxical insomnia. This term is used for people who underestimate their sleep as being awake, and for those who overestimate their sleep. People who have this disorder may report having very poor sleep or no sleep at all, but an in-lab study can show that they're sleeping within normal standards. Sleep studies have shown that people are very poor at estimating the amount of sleep they're getting. Paradoxical insomnia occurs usually in young adults and middle-aged males, and can cause depression and anxiety. Behavioral treatment, such as sleep restriction as well as medications, can help with symptoms. Paradoxical insomnia only accounts for about 5% of patients who are looking for treatment for their insomnia. Before we move on, I've got a challenge for you that will only take 5 seconds to complete. So here's the deal. Leave a like on this video, smash that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell. And boom! 25 years of amazing luck. Try it! It really works. Number 9. Sleep-related painful erections. If you're a male, you better hope and pray that you never have to go through this one. While erections are very normal during sleep and oftentimes very pleasant, there are some men who suffer from very painful ones while they sleep. According to the principles and practices of sleep medicine, people with this disorder can suffer from penile pain during REM sleep and are usually middle-aged or older men. Complaints are usually cited as frequent awakenings with partial or full erections and significant pain, despite having a history of normal, painless erections while awake. Some men suffering from SRPE think that it is due to an insufficient sexual release, but even if the man is having regular intercourse, these excruciatingly painful nightly erections can occur. Continued problems with this disorder can lead to insomnia, anxiety, irritability, and sleepiness. This condition can get worse over time, and although no studies have been conducted about its effectiveness, medication has been shown to relieve symptoms for some patients. Number 8. Short and long sleepers. The typical adult needs 7 to 8 hours of sleep every night to function during the day. There are some people who need 10 hours or more a night to feel rested, and there are those who only need 5 hours of sleep a night to feel rested. For those who are long sleepers, they can function on 9 hours of sleep during the workday, but they may increase their sleep during the weekend to include 12 to 15 hours of sleep. Studies have shown that people who are long sleepers make up only about 2% of the population and are slightly more likely to be male. Long sleepers have a higher risk of depression and anxiety, although there is generally little that is medically wrong with them. People who are short sleepers tend to be male and tend to have normal personalities, but can have some hypomaniac episodes. Despite opportunities to get more sleep, the people who are short sleepers still maintain their approximate 5 hours of sleep, even on weekends. Short and long sleepers resent the extreme ends of normal sleep behavior. Both disorders are rare, but they tend to run in families. Studies have shown that people who are short sleepers tend to die earlier than those who are long sleepers, despite physical activity. Number 7. Rhythmic movement disorder. It can be very upsetting for a patient to see their child bang their head into the mattress or headboard as they are trying to go to sleep. Kids who have rhythmic movement disorder, or RMD, may headbang, rock their bodies, hum, or roll their heads and bodies while they're trying to sleep. Most of the time, they're unaware that they're doing this. The rhythmic movement can be seen during periods when the child is awake but drifting into drowsiness, and continue or reoccur during deeper stages of sleep. The movements are usually seen while the child is sleeping on their back or belly, but it has been observed when a child is sitting upright. People with RMD can have some form of developmental impairment, such as autism. It can occur at any age, but it is most frequently seen with infants and toddlers, and can disappear as the child ages, and rarely requires treatments. For those with violent movements, patting the bed or crib can be an effective way of preventing injury. Number 6. Hypnagogic arousals. Also known as sleep start or hypnic jerks, these are involuntary jerks, jumps, or falling sensations that occur just as a person is about to sleep. The corresponding jerk is enough to cause someone to jolt awake and can sometimes cause the person to have difficulty going back to sleep due to anxiety about having another hypnagogic arousal. People who have irregular sleep patterns, excessive caffeine use, or are going through high levels of stress in their lives are more prone to having these sleep starts. But about 60 through 70% of people reported having at least one. This disorder is very common and usually does not require treatment. It is usually encouraged to eliminate stress, caffeine intake, and try to get more sleep to help with the episodes. Experts still don't know why people experience sleep starts, but some think it may be a result of evolution. It can also be a result of another underlying sleep disorder, such as sleep apnea. Number 5. Alcohol-dependent sleep disorder. We've all had a nightcap or two and felt that it really helped us go to sleep, but there are some people who take their alcohol as a sleep aid to the extremes. People who have reported alcohol-dependent sleep disorder use alcohol as a sedative before bed for more than a month. Some people may think that this is a hallmark of an alcoholic, but alcoholism is usually not the cause of this disorder. Typically, this disorder can cause alcoholism due to overmedicating. As people continue to use alcohol to induce sleep, the effects will eventually decrease, which can cause people to increase their alcohol usage and, as a result, increase the risk of alcoholism. Patients with alcohol-dependent sleep disorder complain of frequent arousals during dreams, sweating, headache, dehydration, and mild withdrawal symptom. Those who quit using alcohol as a sleep aid may discover that it is very difficult to go to sleep without the use of their nightcap. Number 4. Carbon monoxide poisoning. Carbon monoxide, or CO, is a colorless, odorless gas that can be lethal if too much of it is breathed into the lungs. It can be found in the fumes that come from running cars, stoves, grills, fireplaces, gas ranges, furnaces, and so on, and it can be almost impossible to detect unless a carbon monoxide detector is in use. Basically, if enough of it builds up in a small enough space, breathing it in can become toxic. If you inhale enough of it, just having it in your lungs can be enough to seal the deal in a very final way. If awake, the victim may experience symptoms like dizziness, weakness, a headache, or an upset stomach. But what if it catches you while you're asleep? Well, people who are sleeping often experience no symptoms, and they can die in their sleep before they even realize what's happening. Number 3. Obstructive sleep apnea. Obstructive sleep apnea, or OSA, is a sleep disorder in which the victim repeatedly stops and starts their breathing process during sleep. OSA is by far one of the most common types of sleep apnea, and as it turns out, it is also probably the most likely reason that a person may die in their sleep. This type of sleep apnea is literally caused by an obstruction that blocks the airway. This obstruction is usually caused by sagging throat muscles, though the muscles and tissues of the tongue, uvula, tonsils, and soft palate can all play a part. It is estimated that as many as 22 million Americans suffer from sleep apnea, but that 80% of the cases go undiagnosed, making it a true silent killer that many people remain unaware of. People with OSA experience sudden drops in blood oxygen levels when they stop breathing, and if they are already at risk for a heart attack, stroke, or heart failure, then OSA can be the trigger that sets a sudden cardiac event into motion. In such cases, death may occur before the victim even has a chance to wake up. Number 2. Enterovirus, D68. This is one of the more obscure entries on our list, but that makes it no less terrifying. Enterovirus, D68, otherwise known as EV-D68, is a type of non-polio enterovirus that was first identified back in 1962. But back in 2014, there was a huge increase in the number of reported cases, leaving researchers to wonder if the virus was going to become more predominant in the coming years than they had expected. The scary thing about EVD68 is that while it usually causes mild to severe respiratory illness symptoms, it can sometimes produce no symptoms at all. And yet, physicians are saying that the disease has the potential to be more dangerous than the Ebola in the US. How does it kill? It can cause particularly severe respiratory problems, characterized by a high-pitched wheezing sound that has become a dreaded earmark of infection. It has also been associated with muscle weakness and spinal cord inflammation, which is perhaps even more terrifying than the wheezing. Dying of an infection is not necessarily common, but sometimes the symptoms are dangerous enough to kill, even if the victim is asleep. Before we unveil number 1, we would like to thank Inkit Bas from India for sending us the thumbnail for today's video. Number 1. Dry drowning. Most of us are aware that you can drown in the water, right? This seems like a no-brainer. But a lot of people are not familiar with the term dry drowning and what it means. As it turns out, it is a horrific way to die. Basically, the idea behind this danger is that a type of drowning can occur even after the victim has left the water. It is still technically drowning, but dry drowning is the term that has come to be used to describe it, though some doctors have argued for the dropping of said term. It can occur when inhaled water, even just a drop or two, makes it past the throat and into the lungs. This usually causes symptoms, but they are sometimes mild and easy to miss. The scary thing is that this water can cause breathing problems that can get worse over time. And in some cases, these breathing problems don't strike until hours or even days later, after the victim has fallen asleep. So-called dry drowning is rare when you look at the total deaths attributed to drowning. But this makes it no less disturbing. How does it kill? It basically asphyxiates the victim, depriving them of oxygen until they suffocate.